Erie County's top prosecutor says he's having more trouble lately finding assistant district attorneys.
News 4's Dave Graber sat down with John Flynn, who's already on the case with a solution to fill those jobs.
4 years ago this May, Buffalo, from the west side to the east. Protests against the murder of George Floyd at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer swell across the country. But beneath the raw anger directed at police departments and their officers lurked a much broader anti-law enforcement bent.
The George Floyd incident was the genesis of another talking point. And the talking point became defund the police.
The consequences were real, and they were felt nearly overnight.
I would get 30, 40, 50 resumes every year.
Hard job to get.
Hard job to get. And I've only got 8 openings a year. So I had the pick of the litter. Starting in the spring/summer of 2020, by January 1st of 2021, I had no resumes.
A nationwide study just released by the William & Mary Law School lays out in excruciating detail the biggest problems that Flynn and other DAs are facing in trying to find attorneys. Low salaries, massive caseloads, a lack of options to work remotely, and increased demand surrounding a state's discovery rules. Some of the nation's largest cities and counties are reeling, with dozens of positions sitting vacant. In places like Houston and LA, more than 15% of prosecutor positions are vacant. In Detroit, more than 20% are unfilled. In Alameda County, California, more than a quarter of their positions are open. In Miami, it's more like a third. Smaller cities are even worse. 60% of positions are open in the St. Louis area, where the major crime rate actually fell last year. And in Athens, Georgia, where the district attorney actually covers 2 counties, the vacancy rate is approaching 85%. It's the old adage of doing more with less, but the more in this equation is crime, and crime never stops.
I got a lawyer who's got 100 cases in court on a Monday morning, okay? There's no way they can deal with 100 cases. They can maybe deal with 50, so they handle the 50 most serious ones. The other 50, dismiss, dismiss, dismiss. It basically becomes an emergency room triage, all right? Where you can't let a case hang around, because the longer you let a case hang around, then that gums up the whole system, all right?
Hopefully, after law school, I will become an ADA.
Isabella Bakshi has seen the studies. She's a second-year student at the University of Buffalo School of Law and following in the footsteps of her father, Sunil, who's a longtime local criminal defense attorney. Her reaction now is simple. Sign me up.
Definitely very interesting time to be a student and have a desire to be in the legal field.
But getting here hasn't been easy.
A lot of people were hesitant on police and especially prosecution, so I sort of withdrew my desire to be a prosecutor at the time because I was unsure of what was really going on.
People versus Jones. Again,
but Bakshi and dozens of others are staying with it, at least in part, because of a new initiative at UB, spearheaded by John Flynn. The modern DA course aims to reach students before they're influenced by stereotypes, like all prosecutors do is throw people, and in particular people of color, in jail. The instruction is real world. The professors are Flynn's top assistant district attorneys, who spent most of the rest of their time in court.
Every one of my 10 teachers in there, okay, they exonerate more people in 1 month than any defense lawyer will in their lifetime. Most of these kids, you know, are, you know, they're progressive, you know, and they want to help society, and God bless them. So do I. And so I need to tell them, hey, we're here to help society.
Now, the William & Mary study says prosecutors should consider many things, including providing new incentives to attract attorneys, controlling staff turnover, and having the courage to speak out about the seriousness of understaffing. That brings us to Flynn, who now has more than 30 people with a clearer understanding about what a district attorney actually does beyond the stereotypes. In the studio tonight, Dave Graber, News 4.